I think the difference is a lot of us run from our fears, but our freedom is just on the other side of our fears.
Wow.
And to me, like, fear is the way darkness tries to steal from us our light. And you lean into your fears and you're gonna find life. You're gonna find freedom. But what I think is important to know is that if we do nothing, we will be average.
Okay.
That's why it's called the average. And to do anything well, to find your inner greatness, to find that part of you that's heroic, to find that part of you that will make its your greatest contribution to the world, it's gonna take you doing something to break out of that median, to break out of that average. And so for me, it's a matter of realizing that, have you ever been in a conversation with each other and you're not listening?
No.
Yeah.
Yes. And have you ever had that moment where you know you're not listening, but she doesn't know you're not listening, and now you got to figure out what she's talking about because you don't want to tell her you were not listening?
Can we talk about that later?
Yeah, you know? Yeah. No, this is really important for the book.
Okay. Okay.
No.
Yes.
See, what happens is that in that moment, you're not present.
Wow.
And you've lost a moment of time. Now think about this just for a moment. This is the person you love more than any human being on the planet.
Yeah.
And you actually disappeared in a moment and just existed and didn't live.
Got it.
Now, translate that across life. You go to work on Monday, it's a job you hate, you're just paying the bills, you've accepted your status quo. You may have lost 30 seconds in a conversation with the love of your life, but most people are losing years because they're simply existing and they're not even present in their life. And I think a huge part of what I'm trying to do is provoke people to be awake, to be aware that they're alive in this moment and to live it well. And so I just decided to live my life with kind of a reckless abandon. Like this year, my word of the year, I have a friend named John Gordon. He was a Jewish Buddhist energy coach who brought me on his radio show to talk about energy 10 years ago. And then in the middle of it, he shocks me by going, "Hey, you're a Christian, right?" I go, "Yeah." And he goes, "So you Christians think that you're the only ones going to heaven, the rest of us are going to hell, right?" And I go, "I thought we were talking about energy." And he just totally throws me under the bus. And I said, "John, Jesus said he did not come to condemn the world, but to give the world life. So why would I ever take on what Jesus would do? I'm not here to condemn you. I'm just here to bring you life." And within a couple of weeks, that Jewish Buddhist energy coach gave his life to Jesus.
Thank you, Lord.
And,
Wow.
and we've been best friends for the whole 10 years.
Wow.
And now he's on the board of our church.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So he has this whole thing called One Word. And so he goes, "Erwin, what's your one word?" So I said, "My word this year is audacious or audacity." But I thought, I'm not dead, right? So I'm like, I'm on extra time.
Wow.
So if I was insane in the past, you haven't seen anything yet.
Wow. Oh,
Like,
God.
if I wasn't afraid of the past, it's going to be so different. Because I remember the day I told Mosaic that I had cancer. It was on Sunday, and I had surgery on Tuesday. I didn't want them to know ahead of time. I didn't want to distract them or to cause them unnecessary grief. So on Sunday, I told them, I said, "Look, I don't know what's going to happen on Tuesday. Cancer may decide how I die, but it cannot decide how I live."
Wow.
And so I just want you to understand something, that we're all terminal. And all a doctor can do is maybe, just maybe, tell you how you're going to die. He can't tell you that you're going to die. You should already know that.
Yeah.
So you have to decide to live. So I think a huge part of it for me is that you have to decide that every day has eternal value to it. That
Beautiful.
every day has something beautiful in it.
Beautiful.
You know? And so there are fewer things that I pass up on now.
Okay.
I go, this could be the last time. And I love playing basketball. So the day before I think the Friday before I had surgery, called my brother Joe Smith. I said, "Hey man, let's rent a gym." And we all went and played basketball. I think it was the day before I had surgery. And I said, I want to do the things I love. I want to go out. If I'm going out, I'm going out remembering the things I love doing.
Beautiful.
And then I asked my surgeon, "What's the world record?" I mean, they put 6 holes in my stomach, 6 hours of surgery. That was supposed to take 2 hours, but they found more cancer, more complications. And I said, what's the world's record for being able to play basketball after you have surgery? He goes, well, there really isn't like a world's record. I said, great, then it's mine. I get a record. And I mean, I had a catheter. That is the ultimate male humiliation, you know? And they told me I might have it in there for a month. I called them after a week and said, let's take this thing out. Took it out after a week, and they told me it would be months before, you know, you can kind of recover. And 3 weeks after I had surgery, I dropped my sports bag down the stairs so my wife wouldn't see it. And I'm not afraid of her. And then I just said, hey, honey, you know, I'm going to get out for a little while. She goes, what? You're not leaving the house? I mean, my wife bought a refrigerator and put it in my bedroom. She bought me one of those electric chairs that lays down, sit up. Like, I'm going to be there the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Right? So she wasn't going to let me out of the house.
Yeah.
So I drop it down the stairs. I tell her, hey, I'm going to go hang out with the guys. We called, we rented the gym. And we played basketball for 2 hours 3 weeks after I had surgery. I mean, I was bleeding, but the glue wasn't holding.
Wow.
You know? And my wife's calling me afterwards going, where were you? I go, you know, it's hard to say where I am because I'm driving. I can tell you where I've been, I can tell you where I'm going, but when you're in motion, you can't really say where you are. And she goes, where were you? And I go, somebody told you, she said, and she was, I won't tell you what she said. She was unhappy. And she goes, what are you trying to prove? I said, I have all these people that I know that don't believe in Jesus, that don't believe in God. I've been telling them all these years that Jesus meets you in your greatest fear, in your greatest pain, in your greatest struggle, that Jesus meets you in the moment that life is darkest. And how I live this moment is going to be the story, not just of my life to them, but the story of Jesus to them.
Wow.
And so I'm going to be the guy who gets out of that bed 3 hours after surgery. I'm going to be the guy who plays basketball 3 weeks after surgery. I'm going to be the guy who lives his life fearlessly, not for me, but for everyone who's watching my life to see, is God really real?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the only reason I can think that I'm here.
Wow.
Is to be proof of life. I just had a conversation in New York with this, I guess, like billionaire who's not even 40 years old. And he said, I'm Jewish and I'm an atheist, but I've been studying Buddhism. And we started having a conversation because there was something I could help him with. And he thought he would need to pay for it. And I said, I'm going to give it to you free. He goes, why would you do that? And I said, because I have a different view of the world. Like that when you're generous, God has an incredible way of always pouring it back into your life. Oh. And he's not even a follower of Christ. And I said, but I want to be generous to you because I know you need my help for only one reason. He goes, what's that? God wanted me to be the physical manifestation of Jesus in your life. Wow. So that you could know at least once that God sees you and loves you. And he just looked at me and goes, okay. You know, and then he looked at me and goes, I am so full of fear. How are you able to live such a fearless life? And I love that he asked me that question. Yeah. Because I'm a coward, you know, and because I have fear all around me. I just use fear as my marker. When I'm afraid, I lean into that fear and I go in that direction. Wow. I think the difference is a lot of us run from our fears, but our freedom is just on the other side of our fears.
Wow.
And to me, like, fear is the way darkness tries to steal from us our light. And you lean into your fears and you're going to find life. You're going to find freedom. And so, you know, I look at this and I go, I know the life I'm living is not being lived by an extraordinary person. I'm the person that was just average. So if I can live this life, anyone can live this life. And I want people to know that a life full of meaning and joy, a life filled with abundance, a life filled with laughter and love, a life with friendship and with a future and a hope, it's available to everyone, but it doesn't come easy. It comes when you choose to live that life. A lot of us try to act like God just drops life on you. He doesn't. God gives us a path to be fully alive, but then he calls us to it. I've never seen God win a battle for anyone when they were running from it.
Wow.
The only battles God wins for you are the ones you're willing to stand in and fight.
At TBN, our mission is to use every available means to reach as many individuals and families as possible with the life-changing gospel of Jesus Christ.
Thank you for helping make the gospel of grace go around the world.
Without you, we couldn't do it. God bless you.